And Mind Crypto here. I hope we're all having a wonderful day. And the title of the video is Quadrillions. Remember, please subscribe. Please hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any further videos. Remembering, none of this is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, and none of the information provided in this video should ever be taken as a sign to buy or sell. But first and foremost, we look at the crypto bubbles, and as we can see, it's rather green today, which is what we like to see, keeps everybody positive. And we can see we're up one rank to 53, and we're currently at a market cap of $1.38 billion with a 24-hour volume of $22 million. Currently sitting at $114, up from yesterday, which is absolutely great. As we can see, in the hour we're down 0.6%, but we are up 4.2% in the day and up 12.5% in the week. Looking rather good, which is what we always want to see. And if we go over to Crypto Quant, we can see we are sitting at 1.385 million sitting on the exchange reserves, which is slightly up from yesterday, but it hasn't really changed much over the last couple of weeks. It's been up and down, but we are concentrating on this. We see this gap here, and we see a similar gap here from these crossovers here, which is great. And we move over to the exchange net flow, and as we can see, a little bit more has gone back into the exchanges. As we know, we can see 1,726 quant has gone back into the exchanges, but this seems to be up and down over the last week or so. But we see some absolutely two large transactions yesterday, both from Coinbase 10 wallet. And as we can see, the first wallet, which is this wallet here, has accumulated over $1 million of quant in just the last 3 weeks. Today's text was 2,195 quant, which is a value of $242,000, which is absolutely huge. And they just keep slowly chipping away, building on this wallet. And as you can see, literally 3 weeks ago, bang, straight up. And we can see the second wallet, which as I found yesterday, which is this one. As you can see, there is no real graphic there, but they had a transaction of 1,593 quant with a value of $175,000. Is something brewing? Is this Coinbase just literally moving coins ready for institutional adoption, or is this just private wallets just getting in position ready for something? Well, if we see here, if what Stan's saying here, wave 3 is coming in fast, well, then there will be a reason why they're buying it. It will make crypto DeFi look like kindergarten. Quadrillions, and quant has been developed for exactly this way, but regulated interoperability, universal, no code needed, only internet scale solution. And as we can see here from the infographic, digital assets will transform thousands of users for enterprise and consumers. And as we can see, the wallet, this is start of phase 1, wave 1, and we can see digital gold, wallets, exchanges, and L1 chains. And then wave 2, which we have seen, stable coins, bridges, and scaling chains. Now wave 3 is what we're really interested in, digital assets, CBDCs, transaction ownership experiences, which is platforms, gateways, and interop, identity, and mass scale chains. And we see here thousands of use cases now. Who has that? So looking absolutely amazing. So all this money flowing, and we can see this from just the tech guy. Now, I thought this was really, really interesting, and let's have a quick listen.
Reliable forms of digital money transferable between networks on the internet, whether they're rival computer games, dApps on blockchain networks, or wholesale value transfer networks whose future growth depends upon interoperability between those networks. We have this summer seen 2 major financial institutions servicing retail customers, namely PayPal and Visa, adopt stablecoins issued by third parties. But at most major financial institutions, there is, I think, a growing conviction that digital money must in the end be built not on stablecoins, but on central bank digital currencies. That work is in hand, has been in hand for quite a long time. The Bank for International Settlements reported this summer on lessons learned from no less than a dozen CBDC experiments in which its innovation centers have taken part with various banks and central banks and market infrastructures around the world. 93% of the 86 central banks that responded to the annual BIS survey on CBDCs said they're working on one, and 18% of them expect to issue one soon. That's roughly 15 central banks about to issue a CBDC. Yet we're still waiting for our first CBDC in a major reserve currency. There are still just 4 CBDCs in existence and no new ones at all since Jamdex was launched in Jamaica in the summer of last year. Stablecoins, invented to solve The lack of on-chain cash in the cryptocurrency markets are, the efforts of PayPal and Visa notwithstanding, being more or less, in my opinion, regulated out of existence.
There you go. So 18 CBDCs are pretty much imminent. So who was on this panel? As we can see, Matthew Osborne, Senior Manager for Payments Policy at the Bank of England. Gilbert Verdian was there, but wasn't in this particular segment of the video. I'll show you there's a full video that you can watch. We've got Jack Fletcher, Head of Policy and Government Relations, Digital Currencies. We've got Matthias Studak, Head Finance Risk Organizational Development at SDX, and moderated by Dominic Hobson, co-founder at The Future of Finance. And as we can see here, the video that you can go to on YouTube, which is Gilbert Verdian on how to achieve interoperability. And really, really exciting there. So we move over to another post from San. It says here, Quant token will power almost every smart contract out there involving money. Settle almost any digital asset. Normal people will do daily groceries and use Quant token to buy even a banana. And as we can see here from the infographic, monetary flora, central banks can be seen as solid trunks of trees in the global monetary ecosystem. And as we can see here, the monetary base, central bank money, got the APIs that lead into all of this: cash, credit cards, open banking, electronic money, smart contracts, autonomous wallets, tokenized assets, and tokenized deposits. And again, we can see similar over this side, which is again the central bank, the monetary base. Most people won't know that it's even there, which is absolutely exciting. Now we see this wonderful tweet from Construction Trader ETH. Great spot here, great video here on Project mBridge, which was featured in Quant's recent video. Remember, it's Overledger that provides the plumbing for different CBDC jurisdictions. And we can see here the caption that was taken from the video, but let's have a little look at this.
We built a platform, and the platform follows something that we call the common platform approach. I'll spend a little bit of time kind of looking at this high-level network topology, explaining what the platform does, and then I'll move and talk a little bit about the pilot itself. So I think that if there's one image that kind of represents how the platform works, I think it would be this one right here. So the common platform approach, really you can think about that as the circle that's in the middle. What's important about this circle is that it imposes a certain amount of common standards that are specific around kind of the settlement infrastructure. So it's a common settlement infrastructure for all the participants on the network. It's worthy to note that the participants on the network, as you can see, moving from the center outwards, are the central banks, and then the commercial banks corresponding to each central bank. The corporates and any other business function users actually sit outside the platform and request transactions from the direct participants on the platform. So there's a distinction between direct participants that are central banks and regulated financial institutions and everybody else that would sit outside the platform. Within the perimeter of the platform is divided up into 4 quadrants, in this case because we had 4 participants. If there would be more participants, which there will be in future phases of this work, of course, those quadrants would get smaller and smaller pizza slices. Each quadrant represents a sovereign jurisdiction. You can think of each quadrant as being sponsored by the central bank that represents that jurisdiction. The onboarding and offboarding of the commercial banks is done by that central bank, and there are certain rules that can be there are certain rules that can be relevant to each quadrant that are mostly around custody of funds. So you can think about the fact that the central bank is the governing structure on their quadrant, and that central bank not only can onboard and offboard their commercial banks, but they can also set different custodial rules for their commercial banks. At the center of the platform, of course, lie the central banks. And what you can see is a little bit of a difference between the arrows that connect those central banks versus the arrows that connect the commercial banks. What that means to indicate is that the central banks that sit at the center of the platform are fully connected and effectively operate the consensus protocol of the platform itself, meaning that they're the ones that operationally kind of keep the platform up and running. So on top of that, so we have 2 layers. We have the circle that is the common settlement structure. We have the quadrants that are superimposed on top of that are the individual jurisdictions. And then overlaid on top of that, the third kind of layer that you should think about in the topology are the arrows themselves. And the arrows you can think of as the pipes through which the CBDC moves. And you can see that the pipes form a connected graph between the central banks running the consensus protocol, and all of the commercial banks effectively feed into the central banks who operate the platform. These arrows can move independently. The pipes move independently of the jurisdictions, meaning that, of course, a CBDC that's issued within one jurisdiction can freely float into other jurisdictions, enabling this peer-to-peer settlement in central bank money domestic to the context of the transaction. What are the key attributes of the platform itself? There's 6 of them that are noteworthy. The first one is that we have central bank money on ledger, so central bank money that is issued directly onto the ledger. The next one is the ability to take offshore delivery, and this is probably the most significant departure from the current model, is the ability to accept central bank money in an offshore jurisdiction. The third one is settlement finality. So the platform enables point-to-point instant settlement with finality in real time 24/7. The fourth one is integration with RTGS systems. So the mBridge platform doesn't require as a prerequisite having a domestic CBDC. The fifth one is atomic payment versus payment. So the ability to do PVP transactions in an atomic way such that the transaction settles if and only if the other leg of the transaction settles. So atomic comes from the word indivisible. So you can't separate them into 2 single transactions. They either settle together or nothing at all. And then the last one is single platform interoperability. It connects central banks and commercial banks across jurisdictions because we're using this single common platform.
Wow, so there you see, you've got the Bank of China, the Bank of UAE, and Hong Kong Monetary Authority, Bank of Thailand, and we've got the discussion here about mBridge, connecting everything, RTGS, interoperability, and who do you think does that? Absolutely amazing. And this then makes me question what is actually going on here. Are people getting in position because they know what's coming because we are in wave 3? Absolutely amazing. Lip puckering stuff. It gets you thinking about the dots and the connections that we've been through for the last year or so. So there you go, guys. Just a quick update, keeping you in the loop. All the best, and I'll catch you later.